3 weeks from tomorrow, the polls will be closing at this hour on this year's elections. It is time to meet the candidates. I'm joined tonight by Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. She is running for re-election to Virginia's 7th District against challenger Republican delegate Nick Freitas. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Tell us, what is this election about?
This election is about the future of our country. It's about the future of our healthcare system, our ability to reopen the economy, and get our country back on track, get this virus under control and ensure that people who have been impacted by it, small business owners, individuals who have faced unemployment, and certainly those who have been sick or lost family members, that we can get this virus under control and return to a level of normalcy in our businesses, in our schools, and in our communities.
Well, and to that end, recently the House passed a stimulus bill that was never taken up by the Senate because Republican leaders said it was too costly. Given the fact that we have this trillion-plus now annual deficit, to say nothing of the overall debt load that's growing, can the country afford another big bill?
Well, so the bill that you mentioned specifically, I voted against that bill. It was a partisan bill put forth by my fellow Democrats, not negotiated with Republicans, never meant to be law, and most importantly, never meant to actually deliver relief to the American people. But now, in this time of ongoing challenge, this is a time to make investments in our country. Leading economists, including Chairman of the Federal Reserve, said we have to continue investing in our own recovery. And that comes in making sure that we avoid a housing crisis, that we ensure that people are not unable to pay their rent or their mortgage, and making sure that our small businesses are able to survive this pandemic so that when they can open normally and fully to full capacity, that they still have doors to open.
That's right. Fed Chair Jerome Powell last week all but begging Congress to get a deal done, saying it's going to last quite a long time, this sort of depressed state of the economy. What about small businesses, including restaurants? They're still getting hammered by these shutdowns associated with the pandemic. Why does it seem like bigger corporations or box stores, that things that are deemed essential, doing as well as ever, but meantime, the small business, smaller, fewer customers, you would think safer. Why are they still getting hammered, and what can be done?
So what I've been hearing from small business owners, and particularly within the restaurant industry, is that customers continue to be nervous to come back, apart and in addition to the regulations about capacity sizes. And this is one of the reasons why I've worked with Democrats and Republicans when it was clear that negotiations had broken down within House leadership and Senate leadership in the White House. I worked with a bipartisan group of legislators, 25 Democrats, 25 Republicans, to create a framework that includes the programs that matter to people and small business owners. And that is an extended use of the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, which one small business owner here in Central Virginia told me was a lifeline for his business. And I'm going to continue working and fighting for a next relief package, because as you mentioned, we haven't returned to normal. It continues to be a challenge for many small businesses across our country, and they need relief.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of calls and emails to the news station about that as well. Exit polling showed health care was a huge issue, a crucial issue in your first election 2 years ago. Republicans, including President Trump, have criticized Obamacare, saying that premiums have skyrocketed. What can you do to make sure that premiums don't keep rising drastically, whatever happens in the Supreme Court next month?
Well, the most important thing here is to stabilize our current healthcare system. What has been a challenge has been listening to some of my colleagues across the aisle, and including my challenger, say that we should do away with the ACA without any other plan. The ACA is the only law of the land that protects people with pre-existing conditions. It's the only law of the land that ensures that those who have faced significant illness are not touched by lifetime caps in coverage. It's the only law of the land that ensures that young people can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. And what we need to do is create a public option, allowing for additional competition, allowing for additional options for those within our communities to be able to get their health care. And another thing we need to do is something we've already voted on in the House, which is allow Medicare to negotiate its prescription drug prices. We passed a bill in the House that would have savings at $500 billion. And the great thing about this bill is not only would it impact those who are on Medicare, but per the legislation that we passed with bipartisan support, it would provide those negotiated rates, make them available to private insurers. Because one of the biggest components from the individual experience, the number one thing I hear about from people across our district, the people I represent, is the cost of prescription drugs and the impact that that cost has on their lives. And this is a great first step, one that the House took, passed with bipartisan support, and one that I hope we'll be able to pursue again in the future.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing more about those details. Thank you, Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, running for re-election in the 7th. Normally, we would be joining you on Facebook at the bottom of the hour, but because of conflicts, we'll do that next Wednesday at 7:30. We will have Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger on our CBS 6 Facebook feed. Thank you, Congresswoman. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. I look forward to answering people's questions on your next spot. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.